Hello, everybody. Welcome to the UPSB Talkshow. I'm Hobby, joined with Popte and Baaron. Hi, guys. How's it going?
It's good.
Since Popte is our new podcast member today, why don't you introduce yourself a little? Although I'm sure you guys know who he is by now.
Yeah, I'm Popte, moderator at UPSB. Been spinning for about 4 years, and I haven't really done anything notable unless you count intermediate tournament where I placed third, I suppose.
I mean, you've done the RU stuff, right? Like the Rising Unity stuff, so I guess
Yeah,
that
yeah.
counts as
So
something.
we're in a team at UPSB called Rising Unity. Uh, yeah.
So the reason why the podcast is returning, if I haven't said this before, is the Pendosa World Tournament started, and I thought it was a good excuse for us to start talking about pen spinning and such again. So hopefully, when the World Tournament actually starts, we might be able to cover that as well. So for now, we can cover this, and it's just nice for us to talk about pen spinning and hopefully entertain you guys as well. I also hope you guys enjoy the new overlay I've prepared. Popte, do you want to start by just explaining real quick about the World Tournament as well? Because we're not too sure, a lot of people aren't too sure about the details.
Yeah, so World Tournament is being hosted by Zcon this year. He hasn't finished preparing it yet, but he's in the process of selecting judges and changing the rulebook a little bit. And he also needs to make the site and prepare that as well. But rest assured, it is happening at least.
Alright, that's good to hear. So, why don't we get down to it here? So, for the Pendosa World Tournament this year, there are first of all, the prizes are going to be for first place is $500. The second place is a Pendosa gift set, and the third is a Spin Sticks custom. I'm not too sure about the actual details of what's in the gift set exactly, and I'm not too sure about the actual currency, but I'm assuming it is USD, or else it wouldn't really make sense too much.
Yeah, I mean, $500 in Korean won would be about $5 in USD. So
Yeah. What do you guys think about like the prizes though? I mean, compared to like World Tournament, it looks like it's like more, I guess, but
Like $500 is a lot of money for winning a tournament that's, in my opinion, is not too big, but that's quite an extravagant prize to me. In terms of like the gift set and the spin sticks, like I know that it's a Korean thing and they have easy access to those, but like I think those are more fair prizes for something of this scale. But $500 is quite a lot.
yeah.
it provides a pretty good incentive, I'd say, for people to compete, I guess, if they have a prize at the end of it.
But like I remember the prize for, I think it was World Cup 2008. They got like those rings. I think something like that that's a bit more of a pen spinning memento. Like it holds more sentimental value for it. I think something like that would be more appropriate than just flat out $500.
Yeah, I don't know where they're getting this money from either. Is it just because of the Pendosa site, probably, or?
Yeah, I think it's being sponsored by Mr. LSC, right? So he's providing the prizes as like head of Pendulsa.
Oh no. Yeah, that's interesting though. I mean, World Tournament never got like this much of like a prize pool, but I think they did something with like sending mods to like the winners or whatever. And it's mostly like I feel like pen spinning tournaments in general, the winners are always just sort of there for the title more than the actual like winnings, because the winnings aren't very much in general.
But this time it's huge, like $500. Like I can get you a lot of Composite caps. I
All right,
think it's
that's
like 25 cents per cap.
You get a lot.
2,000 Composite caps.
All right. Do you guys want to move on to the criteria real quick?
Oh
Sure.
yes.
We
I
can
really
talk
want to talk
on
about
about this for sure. All right. So the Pendoso World Tournament judging criteria is as follows. So it's the technical, which is difficulty and technical skill. That's out of 10. Artistic category, which is presentation and creativity out of 10. Then there's the subjective of how satisfied the judges are out of 5, giving us a total of 25 points. First of all, I have to mention that the reason why it sounds so weird that difficulty and technical skill is like in the technical category and this stuff is because this is off of the PowerPoint presentation that Pendosa has actually put on their website or on their Twitter account, and that's like all we got. And the English isn't very well done, so this is the best we could do to try to understand what they're trying to do. What do you guys think of it though?
Well, for me, the subjective score, the how satisfied the judges are, as ridiculous as that sounds, I think that's one of the most. I think that's a pretty fair way to judge a combo, but at the same time, since it's so subjective, it kind of works against being fair. It's hard to explain what they mean, but I have an idea. It's like when you first look at a combo, like your first impression and like how things are done before you go into like the slow motion and analyzing of it.
Yep.
And I think that plays a big part in how just pretty much how the combo looks to you on the first impression.
I mean, the problem with it is that it's not clearly outlined what they should be giving points for, so you can just give points without any justification.
Well, if we compare it to like the World Tournament and how they had the criteria, what do you think the World Tournament criteria was better, or do you think this criteria is better?
I think this criteria is better, to be honest. Like, I know there was a lot of talk about how the scoring should be done for World Tournament, and people are now suggesting that like you assign certain judges to certain categories. I still don't think that's exactly the best way to do it because that gives everyone a little too much power. I think just it's hard to numerically give a value to how a combo is for certain things that aren't necessarily on the category. So this is kind of like the wild card for points, and I think that is, I don't know, like since you can't put it into words, I think this is the best way to represent that on a score sheet.
Like the whole problem with competitions to begin with, for me at least from what I've seen, is that people struggle with quantifying something that is like subjective as this. And in competitions you have to kind of find like an objective like number to place on something, I guess. People judge like dancing like tournaments and or competitions, and like there's like figure skating and all that stuff, so like I feel like pen spinning needs something like that where they can judge it better in an actual proper criteria.
Yeah, I think in a competition you should try to strive to make the criteria as objective as possible, so World Tournament does a better job. If there was some way to represent like the impression that Baaron's describing as a point category without being a little more specific, then it'd be a good category, I think.
Yeah, like it's just, I mean, I suck, or I guess some other people as well try to say that, oh, the tournament should be like, I guess the criteria should be specifically judged by certain like people who are like an expert at them, like so people who are really good at like perceiving difficulty judge difficulty, and people who are really good at perceiving execution will like judge execution, stuff like that. like that. I feel like that can work, but it's just that requires a lot of coordination with judges, and people can't really. I mean, I doubt the organizers would be able to trust the judges to actually turn that stuff in time. It's just way more work, I guess, in some ways.
Like that's
Yeah.
what I mean. Like judges are given so much power, and like when you appoint a judge to a certain category, and so say for we're judging how difficult a combo is, like as much as you want it to be objective, it's still going to be like it's even more subjective now because the opinions are so much less ranged. It's only coming from one person now.
Yeah.
And if people are happy about that, then I guess that could work. But I know when it came to the previous World Tournament or World Cup, I forgot which one we had, like there was a lot of talk about needing equal representation from every board. And I just don't think that's a realistic way to put it. Like, as upset as you'll be, I think it's better to have a single judge or a single judge for a single. Actually, no, that would contradict what I said. But just the more subjective it is, the more objective it is to judge.
However counterintuitive that sounds, I guess.
I know. It's a really messy thought. I'm having a difficult time putting it into something that makes sense, but I guess if you want to listen back, maybe it'll make sense to you. It makes sense in my head. So
Yeah, in order for the
it works for me.
for the judging system where you have like one judge, you have to pick somebody who's really trustworthy, I suppose, in the community.
I mean, even if they're trustworthy or not, we've seen that a lot of some of the judges in like last year or whatever, like they trolled like the judging like results basically pretty hard.
In this tournament too, the biases are pretty clear to see.
Yeah, I mean, I guess one of the reasons why you wouldn't want people like to judge one person, I guess, to judge one type of criteria or the same type, like the experts on that type of criteria, is because of their personal biases rather than just the like I don't know, like the I guess it just comes down to personal biases, because although they probably have the most experience, they're also biased in the sense that they know most about it and they have like their own way of doing things, I guess.
Well, that's the thing. There's no like correct way or there's no wrong way to spin pens. So as good as someone can be, it can be like quote unquote wrong for someone else to see that kind of spinning.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to kind of streamline what everyone will think is good and what everyone will think is bad, because like I said, there's no wrong way to do it.
I mean, like for example, I'll say like right now that I've watched all the submissions in the group stage, and there are certain combos that I like that aren't in the top, like watching that aren't in the top. But there's also the ones that, but I still agree with some of them that they should be in this certain rankings. I'm not sure if I put it in the right way for that to be understandable, but
yeah,
it's just
being visually appealing isn't as important in a tournament setting right now.
Yeah, it's just because like execution, I guess in general, just tends to be one category, but in this case, subjective. There's a subjective score, so I'm not. That's where that plays a role, I guess.
Wait, just a question. How come you say visual appeal doesn't matter?
It's most because in World Tournament there seems to be more emphasis placed on like doing difficult and creative tricks than like executing them as well as people can.
Well, if we go by visual appeal, there's that one submission with a really blurry camera. Would you say that he considered visual appeal or not?
I'm not sure. Visual appeal, it's like.
I mean, if we're talking visual appeal, are we talking about how nice the actual spinning looks, or are we talking about how it's presented? Because the blurry camera is obviously like a bad camera at the end of the day.
It's not a bad camera. He just focused it wrong.
Or just focused it wrong, whatever.
Well, if it's for something like that, like how nice something looks, that's, I guess, where the points go for the subjective, right?
Yeah, because I would say the presentation would be like how well they actually filmed it or whatever, how good their setup was, I guess.
Well, not everyone can afford a nice camera or something.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
I guess it should be a baseline of how blurry your camera can be.
How
Like, I
blurry.
remember when I was
The
competing.
expert on blurry cameras is talking.
Yeah. I had that phase where you blur the camera just to make the flaws less visible, but I purposely made it clear for the tournament. And despite how bad it looked, like, no, you just have to have it this way, otherwise people are going to be upset with
Yeah.
how
I
the
mean,
combo looks.
if we're also talking about visual appeal, there's the whole like 30 FPS versus 60 FPS debate where there is a person who actually filmed for 60 FPS in the group stage. He didn't get ranked that very high, but the 60 FPS kind of shows a lot of the flaws in his spinning. So, and that's, I guess, has to do with that in some ways as well.
Well, I know, like, Alex or A13X, whatever you want to call him, didn't he film with a GoPro at really high FPS as well?
Did he? I'm not sure if he actually filmed at 60 FPS though, did he?
He did film with a GoPro, and it was like pretty high quality.
It depends on the compression of the upload, I guess, but I think it was higher than your regular 30 FPS submission.
I know the slow-mo was obviously like a 60 FPS camera slowed down by half, probably, right? So I can understand that, but or at least I think some GoPros actually allow, I guess, like 120 FPS or whatever for like short periods of time. Isn't that how like Vidgar Game like filmed his slow-mos for his tutorials or whatever?
I don't remember, but all I know is that sometimes if your camera quality is a little too good or where the FPS is too high, it's really easy to see where you mess up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I've always avoided getting something of higher quality.
I mean, your camera's pretty good though.
Well, yeah, when I decide to make it look good and not like I'm in a sauna, then yeah.
Yeah. What's your opinion on camera quality though, Popte? I want to hear your
I
perspective.
agree that like worse camera quality actually makes for sometimes better looking combo because it just hides all the obvious flaws that a combo has. But you shouldn't like intentionally turn down quality just to like hide your errors. Maybe if you get better and don't have the errors in the first place, then you don't have to use a low quality camera.
What if it's like
I'm so guilty of that.
What if it's like, I don't know, I think even with a lot of spinners who do use shitty cameras, like some of like at least the well-known ones, they're still really good at spinning if you watch their vines in like better or way better quality. It's just like, they're still really good spinners. It's just they have shitty cameras anyways.
Or if you just use like Haduri to record your videos.
Oh my
People are
god.
still doing that.
RPZN's still doing that. Anything else to add before we move on to the I guess the results?
I guess we'll just move on to the results.
Or wait, we should go over the judges first. Yes. All right, let's go with the judges. Let's talk about judges here. So for the Pendosa World Tournament judges this year, it is the Mr. LSCers. I don't even want to try to pronounce that in case I offend, like, say it. Sundengri or whatever. There's Tez and Neru. I never figured out how to pronounce.
I think it's Naru.
Not Naru, but Naru. Is it Naru?
Yeah, Naru.
I've always pronounced this name Zage though. I don't know how you guys pronounce it.
Zage.
Yeah, and then Kune, which everyone knows. For the Jeb or the Japanese board, there's Avon, Minoa, Iteza, Halcyon, and Asia. Whatever.
Asia, yeah.
Yeah. All right. What do you guys think of the judges for this?
I'm just surprised no one complained that there's only these communities that are judging. Like, just to reiterate my point about how the previous years everyone was wanting people from every community that was competing to have a competent judge. But I'm surprised about the lack of, I guess, conflict people had when there's only these judges from these two particular countries. So it's interesting to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like right now, at least, or at least for a long time, it's always been these two boards to some degree. At least old PDS was like known as a very, like, one of the more higher level spinners, I guess, that had a lot of higher level spinners, and that's why the old Pendosa solos are so well known, and like until today. The Japanese spinners have been around, and they probably are like one of the, or are definitely the best board in terms of spinners for sure. But I'm not sure if the reason why people were okay with this was because these guys they think that these two boards are enough, or if they just don't really care, or if they just want to join just because it's another world tournament and the newer world tournament, or I guess the UPSB hosted tournament isn't organized yet.
But like, what do you guys think? Like, do you think there should have been more judges from other communities, or are you guys okay with this select few?
Well, I think it'll kind of have to like let it play out and see how the judging is in the long run, but having more judges is like from other communities is more of a hassle for the organizer to deal with. It gets more of like a broad like opinion, I guess, of from everyone, but I'm not too sure if that would help because I haven't actually paid attention too closely to the actual world tournament judging, but I don't know. I think we'll just have to see for now. Popte, do you want to say anything about this?
Well, I don't have any complaints about the quality of the judges.
But like
yet.
just like the judges in general, are you surprised that there's not other boards and stuff like that?
Not really. I mean, it's run by PDS, so I would expect them to look at, Asian boards for judges, and seeing as like JEB is the most prominent one, they would probably. It seems understandable that they would just have themselves and then the reliable board JEB.
Yeah. I mean, I think the other reason why they did this was because they're kind of just organizing this like by themselves out of nowhere, and this was a new thing and they're not used to organizing this. If you like, it's pretty obvious they haven't like done this kind of stuff before, so they would have to grab a lot of contacts, and maybe the Japanese board was just the easiest like place for people to contact, especially through Tez, because he actually is like half Japanese or something like that, and he can speak it, I guess, or type it at least, so he can communicate with the Japanese board a lot easier.
Yeah, I think the communication thing probably played a role in just choosing JB and PDS as judges.
So if it's hosted by the Korean board, it's okay that they only choose these certain judges. If the world tournament, like it is technically hosted by North America, but I think people would still get really mad if there are only North American judges.
I would agree, yes. That probably would be what would happen. I feel like it's just because of these two boards and how prominent they were at some point in the timeline of like the pen spinning events that happened, I guess. Like people just respect these people. I mean, at least the boards rather than the names. I mean, in the JEB like judges, there's Manoa and there's Iteza, which are pretty well known among most people, so at least they will be respected to some degree.
So if we're going by respect, people would be okay if these two boards also judge the world tournament?
Just these two boards, you mean?
I don't know about like all the judges on this list, but I would be okay with having some of them judge the world tournament.
I mean, are we talking about just these two groups of people judging, or are we talking about...
Yep, just these two groups. Like, I understand the attachment of the label that it's a world tournament, But this tournament as well is open to every spinner from any community. So this kind of does count as a world tournament, even though I do understand that it's hosted by Pendulsa. But the fact that it's open and everyone is able to compete, but not everyone is able to judge, like, doesn't that kind of seem unfair, even though I understand that this one is hosted by a different country rather than North America?
That's true. But I guess their interpretation of World Tournament is that it's open for other people to compete rather than it's open for everyone to judge, I guess.
Yet the rules are made by North America, it seems.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, was UPSB really the one, by the way, who actually started this whole competition type thing for like actual tournaments and World Cups, by the way?
Yep, it was organized by Crash. He was a spinner or someone who knew about pen spinning from, I think, England. In 2007 was the first one, I think.
Okay. So it was definitely a North American thing that started, while the other Asian, like, I guess, communities didn't really think about competition back then, I guess.
England, not North America, but that's still a part of the UPSB, because I don't remember if there was a prominent United Kingdom board that could be classified as large enough to be considered a community at that time. But technically, yes, he did organize it, and he was a part of UPSB, which is mostly North American at this point.
I mean, UPSB has always been like a weird wild card of sorts because everyone is like from different areas of the world. I mean, it's basically the place for North Americans to go to just because it is an English board. So it's kind of odd, I guess. And it also makes sense because it's universal pen spinning board, and it's meant to like be the place for everyone to come together and like do stuff and host events and blah blah blah. And I guess that's why like the World Tournament is hosted there.
Yeah, it might be just a case of image where, since it's hosted by Universal Pen Spinning Board, it should have like universal judging.
Universal appeal. Universal appeal. All right, so do you guys want to move on and talk about the rankings and results, or are we good on the judges for now? We can probably talk about the judge results later, which will be interesting.
Yeah, I guess like talking about the scores reflects more information and input on the judges, so I guess we can move on.
Okay, we're gonna go to the Group A rankings here. So I'm just gonna read out these real quick. So the first place is Beige, followed by Herenz, Pixel, Zuo, Leisurely, Tycho, Vice, and Hippo. And then it's Coco A, Iwatawi, Monk, Pelta, Sail, U91X, River, Lighters, TH Tran, Zen, Ivy, Titus, Vato, X-Trigger, and Nyx. So what do you guys think of this Group A ranking? Anyone?
Oh, sorry, I was pressing the wrong button for I should talk. So I think where Beige is, it's quite significantly higher than the rest of the scores. But I think in terms of what he did, I think he deserves to be number one, but I'm not sure if a score that high is quite justified.
Do you want? Maybe I should play this in the background here.
Yeah, Group A had like a lot of well, it was mostly Beige, and then there was a lot of good people grouped together, and then there's a lot of drop off in quality after that. But
were there any spinners that you thought deserved to be in the top 8, or vice versa, did not deserve to be in the top 8?
For me, I mean, probably. I mean, you could exchange out Hippo for maybe like 9 through 11, I think, and it'd still be a reasonable result, because those 5 are pretty close in quality. But the Hippo, scoring, I mean, could be a little bit controversial, I guess, because of his style.
Like I've never. I don't mean to like offend like hip or anything, but I've never actually particularly enjoyed watching his spinning that much, like at all. Ever since I even started, it's been like I just don't really. Maybe it's just because I'm ignorant and I don't understand what's going on, but like the way he spins is not very fluid. I guess there's a lot of these weird concepts he's applying, and it doesn't quite fit like what we're used to as spinning. And maybe it's being innovative and I just don't understand, but that's just how it is, I guess. I also think his execution could be way better than this, but maybe it's just trick choice and other things.
Like, I'm trying to be open-minded about the ideas that he's trying to do, but just the way that he presents it, or if I'm going to use the judging rubric for it, it doesn't give me a lot of satisfaction points, as ridiculous as that sounds. But his new ideas are admirable, but the way that it's put together, and I guess I hate using the word flow, but the way that it flows and how he assembles the combo, it just doesn't seem too conventional for me to appreciate the ideas. Because you can have a good idea, but if you're not able to, I guess, put it in a way where people can clearly see what you're doing, it just looks like, I don't want to say unintentional ideas, but that's what they come off to me as.
Yeah. Like he does a lot of creative things, but even so, like pen spinning should be done fluidly, I suppose, or smoothly. So, and he doesn't put his tricks together smoothly like that. So
I remember showing the combo to people who are non-pen spinners as well, and they have they have the same reaction to it, where they're wondering why it's so choppy compared to the rest. Like, I know there's a lot of influence to have circular motions when it comes to spinning, and it seems like Hippos kind of lacks that circular rotation for rounds or charge-based tricks. Even though I know that his combo is not based around that necessarily, but it just, the lack of it at certain points seems really unnatural to me.
There's
and
like,
that's why it's strange to look at.
Yeah, I mean, there's also this part in Hippo's combo where he did like this random shadow in there, and that was like a weird filler I saw. And I guess that was kind of the random like circular motion thrown in there, but it just seems odd, I guess, from what we're used to at least. I guess he's really trying to push new concepts and stuff, so like that's what's gonna come out, I guess. He's also made like I mean, I'm not sure, I don't think his blog is up anymore, but he used to like actually write stuff on his blog and talk about all these tricks and stuff like that. And a lot of his combos he made in the past had like a lot of breakdowns and like talk about like all these concepts he made. One being like perpendicular, whatever, that I've heard of. I don't know.
Vertical and horizontal.
Yeah, even if he is using difficult material, he needs to be executing it properly as well. So, like, there should be his. I mean, I don't know what the judges gave him in.
I have it up on the screen right now, actually. I don't think did he score very high on I think he got like decent like for difficulty, I guess, and technical stuff, but I don't know why he got so high.
There's also no explicit category in judging for execution.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wish they gave like a separate breakdown for their totals, because all they give here are the totals, I think. No, wait, no.
No, they have the separate numbers.
Oh, no, sorry.
It's like for Hippo, like let's say Tez gave Hippo 6, 7, and then a 2.
Okay, sorry, I didn't realize that.
So like
was,
I can
I was
see
looking
like
at the totals.
I can see that a lot of people like gave Hippo like 6.5, 6.7 for his like technical skill. I guess because it was creative is the reason why he got higher in the second category. But I don't think he scored very high on the satisfaction. So, yeah, he got like mostly twos, I think.
I don't understand how creativity is something that should be judged.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to be like super super like anal about it, I guess you can. You would have to be since pen spinning isn't archived very well. You would have to like dig through a billion videos just to make sure, I guess, that people have never done a certain trick before.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you pretty much have to be really ignorant to give, like, ignorant in a sense that you don't know about these tricks and ideas that exist. So pretty much if you remove yourself, like, from watching pen spinning, anything could be considered creative for you. And that depends on, like, people's willingness to go out and look for other videos as well. And I think that's just a really ridiculous thing to put in numbers for a score.
Yeah.
Because if I look at the things that Hippo's doing, in terms of how creative it is, I wouldn't rank it that high, if I'm going to be honest. There's a lot of things that people have done before, but it depends what I've seen and what you've seen. So that's why it just seems like an even more subjective category to judge pen spinning on.
My question is like, is there like a difference between creativity and originality? Like, aren't they the same thing, kind of?
Well, they're kind of put in the same category, are they not?
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the reasons why I'm asking this is because, like, Weapon of Choice did this. One was originality, one was creativity.
Yeah, can we not talk about that Weapon of Choice thing?
With Baaron?
No. I was never in that collab. I was just there for the photograph thing, and that was it.
Yeah, you had the a nice
nice photo of his back.
Yeah, it looks like I'm face down on the ground. Just yeah, let's not talk about that one. But originality, like, what does it mean to be original? First of all.
Yeah.
And creativity, like, what does it mean to be creative? Like, I think in terms of, even though you probably have a different meaning for both, they're going to be pretty similar if you take it, I guess, vaguely. Like, it depends on how other people perceive it as well. And I think on average, it's probably going to be the same thing. So,
yeah.
Taking the weapon of choice thing aside, I think they're probably going to be the same in most cases.
All right, so what's the next spinner you guys want to cover? I want to go to, or do you want to just first of all like say what you guys' favorite, at least, or just like the notable ones at first?
My favorites from the group.
I mean, we talked about Beige. What do you think about? We talked about Hippo. What do you think about like Heren's, Pixel, Zoro, Leisurely, Tycho, and Vice?
I'm just gonna watch Heren's clip again real quick.
Let me try to put it up on the screen real quick as well. What do you think, Popte?
I like Heren's spinning a lot. Usually his his speed and pacing of the combo, and his tricks are pretty nice too. But other than that, maybe Cocoa was like really nice to watch because his execution is just.
He's like really smooth, right?
It's pretty close to like perfect rotations. Well, as perfect as it can get.
I like Heren's because of how condensed the combo is. Like, for me, there was one weird change in the direction, but other than that, the way that he put the linkages together. So like his seemed more like a linkage full of linkages, if that makes any sense. But I think it was really well balanced in terms of what tricks he decided to use and how much material he had as well. Coco A or Coco A, however you say it, I think it really shows that he's been spinning for a really long time, but it just seems like he stayed in that comfort zone of what he's good at rather than really expanding what he could possibly do. I know that his combos used to be a lot more simplistic, but even now it doesn't seem like that much of a step above. If I don't regard how long he's been spinning for, then I guess I would think he scored a little too high in my opinion, although it was a nice combo to watch. I won't say that it wasn't.
Yeah, but most of the tricks were like you could consider like filler, I guess.
Well, you mean for Coco's combo?
Yeah.
Oh well,
yeah.
I mean that's the point of his spinning, really. So yeah. I mean, when the whole combo is filler, you know, there's a reason why they're doing that. I don't know. Like, my problem with this group, I guess, would be mainly Iratawi and, like, what else? What other did we have a problem with?
I think Monk and Pelta should have scored higher, to be honest.
Well, I would definitely
lower than Aotawi. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, because I think they excelled in every criteria, whatever it was, compared to Ayatawi.
What did you guys think of Taiko's combo and Pixels? I personally thought, like, although, like, Taiko has, like, some interesting ideas and links in there, but when I actually watched his spinning, at least watched his combo and actually watched it in slow motion, I ended up picking out a lot of, like, filler in his combo, and that really kind of made me not enjoy watching it as much, which is why I would say, like, Herenz's combo is obviously better than his because of that combo structure difference.
So is there something wrong with putting filler in?
I personally don't like seeing that kind of thing. It just seems very weird to, I guess, for me, just because maybe it's just because I'm really good at, like, picking out, like, twisted sonics and such in videos nowadays that it just seems really off if you have, like, a really hard trick and then you put, like, twisted sonics and then you put, like, other really hard tricks. Not saying that Taiko did exactly those tricks, but just in general, that's the kind of combo structure that I don't really like watching. And as you said, like, the Herenz's combo was, like, more condensed, right? So
it just depends on how you use it. If you can make the filler maybe highlight better parts of your combo, then it could be considered okay. But at the same time, it detracts because it doesn't really bring anything
Alright, let's watch Taito's combo.
good into the combo.
Well, for me, when people use filler, it's so that they can regain control of a difficult sequence that they did. But if it's really obvious that they went from losing control to gaining control using the filler, I guess that's when I would be able to see the, I guess, contrast and how much control they have overall in the combo.
Yeah.
But personally, I don't see anything wrong with, if you have a difficult sequence and you did it fine, having one or two filler tricks to set up the next would be too bad, I think.
Yeah, I don't think... Sorry, go ahead.
I understand what you guys mean about, like, how filler provides nothing to the combo, but in some cases it just adds, I guess, visual, like, I hate to use it again, but I guess the satisfaction thing, because some filler tricks do look quite nice, if I'm going to be honest. Sometimes if you have a sequence that's just full of really hard linkages and everything is really new, you don't see a lot of filler. It just sometimes, like, it depends what the trick is, but it doesn't look quite right just because of the lack of conventional tricks that you see.
So, like, for example, if we, like, talk about Feltufrem and the way he does combos, he doesn't ever really have filler. It's just a whole linkage, right? So is that kind of what you mean by, like, it looking super weird? Because I can agree that Feltufrem's combos tend to look pretty damn weird.
It depends if you're scoring it or not, to be honest. Like, if it's just for a collab, I wouldn't really care too much about it. But I know people really like to have all difficult tricks and perfect smoothness for competitive combos. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but like I said, it depends like when the filler is used and how well the difficult sequence that you did before and after it end up being. Because if you're just using it as a crutch to make sure that you have some smooth part in your combo, then that's where I would see it as a weakness more than an advantage.
Like I don't see a problem with using filler, like using some filler. Like I'm not gonna be like against using filler completely, but I'm just saying like too much of it is a bad thing, and obvious filler is a bad thing as well.
So for Taiko, would you say that it's excessive?
It's a little bit excessive, I would say, compared to maybe it's just me because I just can just pick it out a lot better. I don't know what Popte thinks. Like, what can you actually pick out filler pretty easily from his combo? Like, I don't really know.
I didn't think it had too much filler. I mean, maybe I'm not looking at it close enough, but it didn't seem to detract from my experience of watching it.
That's fair enough, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Like, it's definitely not my favorite kind of spinning, but I will admit the things that he does, they are quite impressive, and the pacing of it as well, and the consistency of the speed. I think he did a really good job of that, except that one portion in the second half of the combo. But in terms of how consistent it was, I think he did a pretty good job with it. I think his scoring is quite good, or it's fair. Like, people didn't score it badly, like too high or too low.
Yeah. So is there anything else you want to talk about here before we move on to Group B?
Vice.
What do you have to say about Vice then?
Is grabbing the pen out of the air a finisher trick?
I didn't enjoy his finisher either.
Well, I mean, grabbing a pen isn't particularly difficult finisher trick.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I just never understood that as a finisher in general, because I never thought it would look good. I don't really like Vice's combo anyways, but I'm not sure, would you? I guess it would be higher than Hip, I would agree on that, but like, There's a lot of mistakes in Vice's combo as well, and it's just not my type of spinning I would like to watch either.
The amount of how unstable it looks because the constant aerials is really difficult to look at. Like,
yeah, there's an issue of him moving around his arm and hand too much when he's using those aerials.
Yeah.
And the arm roll, I'm not too crazy about that either. Catching a roll or some unorthodox trick just in your thumb flap charge is probably one of the easiest things to do as well. Yeah. So if he was going to use something as, I don't want to say ridiculous because he might really think arm rolls are something cool, but I'll just use the term for now. If he's going to use something as, I guess, unorthodox would probably make more sense. If he's going to use something that unorthodox and have it not be that special, I think it's more of a disadvantage than an advantage that he probably thinks it is.
Okay, if we look at the judging real quick, let's change to the judging. What did he score for Vice, I guess? For creativity, I guess, are we looking at? Or are we looking at technical?
I don't know. What would you categorize?
I don't know.
Categorize an arm roll as?
That would probably I don't know. Is that I mean,
it is.
I don't think arm rolls are that creative, anyways.
It's not. I mean, technically, it's not that creative, but I guess people think that type of spinning is really creative. So I don't know anymore.
Like, he did do a. Okay, if I'm gonna be fair, he did do a fingerless arm roll. So that should give some points because he did it fingerlessly, I guess.
Okay, let's see.
I guess we can put it in technical.
Let's see. So I got like a 6, 7, 6, 6, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 9, 7, 5, 3, 8, 8, 7, 5, 6, 7, 5, 4. That's what I see for the two.
First one 9.
Sorry?
Who gave the 9?
Let's see. The 9 was from Mr. LSC.
Mr. LSC has never seen an arm roll.
No, the 9 was in technical, I think. So maybe arm rolls are very difficult to do.
I don't know. I don't think that's right.
They're like, oh, he's wearing a sleeve. It must be difficult to do an arm roll then.
I don't know, man. Not sure if I agree with this.
What do you guys think about Leisurely's combo?
I think I have to watch it again, so let me pop it up while you guys are talking about it. What do you think about it, Popte?
I was just looking it up again because I don't remember the specifics.
He has a lot of like when he does like certain fingerless tricks or whatever. Like I don't know the trick names for these things anymore. I'm not a person to judge difficulty, but he has like very excessive like movements for when he like does all these fingerless things. And like the ending was a bit badly controlled right there. If I go back here, let's see.
Just after the pinky back, I think it ruined it for me.
Yeah, the pinky back.
Oh yeah, the pinky back mistake right here.
Very badly done.
It stopped like halfway, and he had to move.
Yep,
his hand
right
to
there, right
readjust
there.
it
If
to
I'll
continue.
I'll reiterate by just clicking this if you guys can't see it. Oh, and then there's that mistake. And it's just some parts of it is just very badly controlled. Do you guys like have a problem with how it's scored, I guess? I don't think it's like trick-wise it seems like it's not bad.
I would put him lower than Tycho, if I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. Okay, I would agree with that actually, yeah.
I think that Tycho should at least be above Zuo as well.
Tycho would have had like more. I feel like his tricks and his ideas probably would be enough to like get himself more points than him, for sure.
Subjectively, like, I don't know which style I like more. They're both not really my cup of tea, but it's hard to say in terms of satisfaction because that depends on everyone else. But in terms of the technical skill, Leisurely, I think, scored a little bit too high there.
Yeah. Do you want to, let's see, on the judges here and see what Leisurely scored. So, let's see here. Leisurely got 7-7, 7-7, 7-7, 6-7, 7-5. Lost 7. One person. Iteza gave him a 9 in the first category.
And that's for the difficulty, right?
Yes.
That's surprising that Iteza would give someone such a high score.
Yeah, especially because Iteza is known for his difficult stuff.
His understanding of what is a difficult combo is quite a bit different from most spinners, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. It's interesting. Like, what, by the way, what are those tricks, by the way, that Leisurely did? Those, like, weird pinky, like, is that, like, a FX6K thing? Or, like, I don't know.
I think that sounds about right. And I don't know what he did to counter it, though.
It was really messy, though, regardless. He just, like, you can tell his hand moved everywhere.
That was, like, well, FXXK is pretty much just a spread, but with your pinky or whatever finger pointing away from you. Even then, I wouldn't rate that trick too high. I know that it's really flashy and it looks like it's hard to control, but breakdown wise, it's just a spread with your arm positioned a different way.
Yeah.
So he pretty much did 2 pinky out spreads and then 1, I guess, palm side spread. I know that they're going in a different direction, but breakdown wise, they're pretty similar to me. I do know that one is more difficult, but honestly, a trick like that, how long ago was that done?
Like a year ago or so? A year or 2 ago?
Not as bad as the lever trick, which is 3 years old and people are still using it as their highlight trick. But
yeah, I mean, that's the problem you seem to have with this competition in general, by the way.
I'm so sick of seeing lever tricks.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of just filler lever tricks.
Lever trick is, I don't think it's that difficult, and it's not exactly something that's groundbreaking still because of how old it is. It's a background with a charge, reverse, initiated. Like
It's the thing that A13X basically did, I guess, right?
yeah,
Popularized.
and I guess people understand it now, but I don't think that people should be using it per se because a lot of people can do it now. I don't know why it scores so high if you have a lever trick, to be honest.
Hmm.
Maybe that's just because I've seen too many combos that use it. But at this point, I think we should be moving past using lever tricks as something as a highlight point in your combo.
Yeah.
Well, I think
it's really not right now.
The tricks that are, I think it's coming up as finger crosses. That seems to be the next highlight of choice.
Yeah, I feel like finger crosses have become really a thing. Even though aren't finger crosses like pretty old though to begin with? They've just been doing more shit with it.
Fratlum in 2007, I think,
Yeah.
was doing finger crosses already. But he was preparing it before the combo starts, not in the middle of a combo. But
Okay.
the concept itself is still not very new, I guess. I think the thing is now is like being able to do wipers and arounds while your fingers are crossed.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than what Fratlum did, which he used it as kind of like a new slot.
I mean, there's also like the whole you cross fingers that aren't actually involved in the trick itself and just do that trick.
Yeah, like there was I forgot which clip it was in this tournament, but like when people cross their fingers to do a high tua.
Oh yeah.
Like their ring and pinky. Like I understand that it's not a natural way to do it.
Is it? Oh, it's Nearda, isn't it? The guy with
Pardon?
the Rubik's Cube and the Kirby thing?
Yeah. But like I know it was done before by Sound. And just like it doesn't like it's weird. People don't normally do that, but in the end it's still going around your pinky before it goes to your before it goes around the thumb. So I don't really see how it adds too much difficulty.
Yeah, finger crossed high tua with like 3 and 4 is not really that much more difficult than doing a regular high tua.
Like I can't do it myself, so it's hard for me to judge like how different it is from a regular high tua. But just from what it looks like, it doesn't look like it's anything substantial that would change it from a regular high tua to be a lot more difficult.
I think the reason why people do it and think it's difficult is because it has to do with their flexibility, right? And how easy or hard it is for them to actually cross their fingers to do it while you're doing other tricks.
Yeah, the 3-4 is like the easiest finger cross
is it?
that you can do. I think
I'm not aware of that.
Well, I have little stumps from my fingers, so I can't do any finger cross. So
yeah, neither. I can't really do it.
Maybe I'm just a little bit upset about that, but that I can't really join what's popular right now because of my little stumpy fingers. But I think if I were able to do them, I wouldn't rate it that highly still.
Yeah, I mean, it was me from Jeb, who popularized it, kind of, I guess. He did it a lot.
I think it was mostly Zound in
was it?
World Tournament.
No, not finger crosses in general, but just me being the person who did like a lot of fingerless like power tricks with like cross fingers.
Oh yeah, he did that during World Cup.
Did he?
Yeah.
If anyone's confused, when Hobby says me, it's M-I. It's the name of a spinner. He's not talking about himself, if you're wondering.
Yes.
But
I don't know. Maybe was it Sound though, Baaron? Do you know?
I don't remember exactly, but I do know that me did a lot of fingerless thumb arounds while crossing the pinky with the ring and the index with the middle. I'd say Zound's approach to it is a little bit different because he uses them to create new finger slots.
Oh, okay.
Aside from the one high tua with the cross pinky and ring ending, but yeah. I think their purpose for crossing the fingers is a little bit varied there.
All right, do you guys want to just talk about Pixels' combo real quick, and then we can move on to the next group?
I like Pixels.
Yeah.
Pixels, you're good. Okay, done.
I'm just going to play in the background here. What do you think about it, Popte?
It was a solid combo.
That's all you have to say about it.
There's
Yeah.
not. It's just really good.
It's just really good, guys. You don't even need to say anything about it. All
The
right.
combo is good enough that I'm not staring at the rainbow keyboard.
Yeah, I was like, every time I watch Pixels' combos, like I'm just like looking at that keyboard sometimes.
Well, now this time it's good enough that you're looking at the combo. Okay, let's move on.
All right, so let's go to the Group B rankings. The top 8 are Kagami, MKSFT, Derry, Golem Skate, Rotation 87, Piruru, Scream, and White. Should I go through the rest actually? Yeah, there's Vane, Nirda, Kurinto, Fly, Lay. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Megas, the
I think it's
Big
just
Geek.
Lay.
Lay's lightly salted chips. Keyolt, PT, Alwyn, Faint, which is basically Iceluck and under a different name. Security, Kit or K exclamation mark T. Dark Horse 81.
It's Kit, I'm pretty sure.
But yeah, what do you guys want to start with? Do you want to start with Kagami? I may as well.
Kagami had such a huge execution mistake, and I don't know why people still love this combo.
Do you
so
think
much.
he ranked all right though in the results?
No, I do not think so. I think Golem Skate should have got top in that bracket, if I'm going to be blunt about it.
Because I can't judge how difficult this stuff is. I mean, Golem Skate's obviously very consistent, and Kagami has some execution errors in his combo, and he's also, I feel like in general, he's never been that like very good at controlling his stuff as much.
I think at the very least it should have been Golem Skate and Kagami at 1 and 2 in some order, but
Yeah, I don't know. Unless, I mean, right now the matchup is like Kagami versus Golem Skate anyway, so we'll see how that goes.
Just that one trick that Kagami does. Hang on, I'll get a timestamp for it, but
I'm just showing off Golem Skate's combo right now. Do you want me to go back real quick?
so Kagami at about 6 seconds when he does that swivel-like trick, it doesn't even go to the correct side of the pen, or if it did, it went to the very tip, and you can see that he had to do some non-circular.
Oh yeah, I see that.
I think it was like a Neosonic or something, but
Mm-hmm.
the fact that how linear it was meant that it wasn't even in a position to be properly used as a charge. And a huge lossy control like that, when he has to grab it and readjust to do a finger switch in his thumb slots, I think that is a massive flaw in the combo. Like, the rest of the combo was executed quite well, but for something that major where you have to move your arm for a swivel and to catch it really poorly, I think shows like it's just a really bad indication that he messed up really big but didn't bother to refilm the combo.
Yeah, I also want to say like the pinky back right here that he did is not very well done.
Yeah, if someone was beside him, he would have elbowed him.
Yep.
Like, there was a lot of movement for the pinky back. Yeah, that swivel, his hand and pen partly go off screen as well.
was the swivel intended to land in that slot?
Yeah, it looked like a mistake practically, right?
I think it was intended to go in that slot, but the fact of the matter is you want to catch a pen somewhere close to the barrel space. If you look at how he caught it, he catches it pretty much at the cap right below the grip, which I don't think anyone intends to catch a trick there, because it's too far to where you can do a regular trick like in a round or some charge-based trick. And it's not on the tip where you can do a wiper. So it's in that really awkward spot where you can't really set yourself up for anything other than to do a finger switch to realign it.
Yeah. So you think Golem Skate would have scored higher than Derry and MKSFT and Kagami then? He should have been top. Then what do you think the the ranking should have been with those 4 people?
With those 4 people, Golem Skate would be first. I would put... It's kind of hard for me to do NKSFT and Kagami, but Derry would definitely be fourth.
Yeah.
Or fifth or sixth. I don't know.
Yeah, Derry's execution had a lot to be left a lot to be desired.
I
almost
wished
dropped
his
the
combo
pen.
was better. Like, I actually really wished it was better. I was like,
Are you
oh, Derry's
playing
in
the-
this competition. Maybe it'll be like pretty cool. But nope. Bit of a
There's
disappointment.
Huge execution mistake in, I think it was a reverse thumb spin.
I mean, if
thumb
I just
spin
show
type
you
trick.
this video right now, you guys can obviously see it in quite a few areas. Or one right there, and then that was kind of weird, and then there.
The major one at 8 seconds was the one that upset me the most.
Oh, yep,
I know
that
that
one.
was
Yeah,
supposed to
that
be-
one upset me quite a bit as well.
It's
This
like
one.
a reverse thumb spin, but it almost left his index finger where he had to lurch for it just to catch the pen.
Yeah. That's like an obvious sign of just failing to control the pen right there.
And for such a massive execution mistake, I'm surprised that he was able to score that highly as well.
Yeah, I thought he would have been way lower than that. Like, Golden Scape should have been up there and such like and things, but I don't know.
I don't think. Oh, go ahead.
For Golem Skate, I think he's. I don't know. I just think the score is too low for what he's doing.
Do you
I don't
think
think people
you
appreciate
wouldn't think
his
like
technical
MK?
skill.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm just interrupting people now.
Oh, no. My point's done. You can go ahead.
MKSFD, you don't think like he could have scored higher? Because I actually can't tell.
I don't think he should have scored as high, actually. Well, just in terms of the criteria of like creativity.
Creativity.
He recycled his entire combo is pretty much recycled, and
Yeah.
like yeah.
Like all you have to do is go back and watch his old videos to see that he's not being creative at all, pretty much. Like like your resources are there to see if he's doing anything new. And for me, it left a pretty similar impression because the tricks that he did are quite similar. I can't say for sure, so don't quote me on this, if he did it in the same finger slots to at least give it some kind of variety. But the impression that it leaves someone is probably going to be similar to his submissions from how many years ago?
From maybe
At least 2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
And
Okay, I mean he's been doing the same material since like World Cup 14. Yeah, and not really much variation.
So
from
you guys
them.
think it's kind of like a boring combo for him then?
for me, when I saw it, I was like, oh, it's just a standard MKSFT combo. It's using the same tricks from as he did before.
It just doesn't leave as much of maybe an impression when he's using all the same tricks.
Like I hate to use this example, but I know I'm going to use the Manoa example. When it came to watching Manoa, like people already recognize how good he is, but when he, like I know not all of his ideas came up by him, but when he just presents a new idea, it just kind of gives that refreshing factor that he's still trying to put something different in his combo rather than what he's done before. Because if Manoa didn't change anything, it'll just be spider spins over and over again. But the fact that he's moved away from that kind of spinning into more, I don't want to say linkages, but just the tricks are different. It's hard to describe because there's a lot of things that changed about his combos, I'd say. But you can see how he's evolved as a spinner throughout the years. As for MKSFT, it seems like, I will admit, he is a good spinner. He did make, I guess, a solid combo in terms of execution, except towards the end. But he is a skilled spinner. And the thing is, though, he was the same spinner that he was a few years ago. There's no change or anything really brought new.
It just gets kind of stale. Whereas like maybe in Manoa's World Tournament run, all the combos have different themes and different tricks in them.
Yeah.
Well, the themes are intentional, but there's a lot of spinners that just like to stay in their comfort zone. Like even for Beige, for example, like I
Yes.
noticed that he's not doing just 100% wiper combos as he used to. So even I know that wipers are his comfort zone. It seems like he's still not trying to just stay and do the same tricks that he's done before.
Yeah. I mean, a very clear example of that would be maybe like Megas and Coco A, because they pretty much did the stuff that they're used to as well.
Well, for Coco A, I remember him as the guy with the bad camera in the MX collabs. So seeing him do something even as slightly interesting as a mid back riser is at least some kind of change from what it was before.
Okay. So, do you guys want to talk about rotation really quick? Here's the topic that we've all been waiting for.
Okay. Let me watch it again. If you want to put it up on the screen.
Alright, give me a second here. Popte,
I mean,
do you have any opinions on it?
There's a lot of it's just weird trick choice maybe, or he's not executing it properly. But for whatever reason, like the pen does a lot of stopping, and the speed varies way too much. It's just not appealing in my opinion.
I just think that when he catches the pen, it's mostly at the base of the finger, which makes it super difficult to control the speed. If we're not even going to talk about that one really awkward trick that he did, which people didn't seem to mind, but just the speed change and how often he puts it in the wrong place for it to have the most consistent speed already kind of bothers me.
Yeah, that one awkward trick where he flips it onto like the top of his hand, and it just stops for a good like 1 second, which is not
Stop.
it's not like, well, it doesn't stop completely, but it stays in the
Is there a
sequence for
timestamp you
too
want me
long.
to show off?
It just, I don't know, it just seems so out of place as well. If I just go back to my reasoning for how linear the trick looked compared to everything.
I mean, you also showed this to a non-spinner as well, so why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I showed it to a non-spinner and she was like, did he make a mistake there? Did he mean to do that? I think most people have the impression that, like, I understand what he was trying to go for, but the fact is it was so poorly executed and just, I hate to use it again, but the word flow, it didn't flow consistently with the rest of the combo. It seems very strange that with such a major execution mistake like that he would end up that highly.
Yeah. Do you think he still deserves to be in the top 8 though?
Who would I
That's hard.
replace?
That's hard for me to say because I forget what Peruru and Scream and White have been doing. So
No, well, if we take a look at like the other spinners who didn't make the top 8, I think Megas could have made top 8.
Really, Megas?
And Faint.
Yeah, Faint. I mean, I thought Faint for sure, which is basically why I suck. And the
Icex combo is
the Begeek could have been
criminally
slightly
underrated.
higher.
Icex combo was rated so lowly that it was right before the cutoff of the 100 scores, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, it was the lowest one of the scores above 100. I think people have a tendency to rate spinners they don't know a little bit lower, and it really shows with this.
Yeah.
There's no way that Icex should have scored that low. Like, it's ridiculous to me.
I mean, that's like far from a tendency. He scored like miles lower than he should have.
Yeah. What? Like, how did he score lower than Owlin? Like, that doesn't make sense.
How did he score lower than Bane?
Yeah. Do you have anything to say about like Peru, Scream, and White? You said like White didn't. Did you think that White didn't? What? You didn't think he like deserved to be up there as much?
Let's see. White. That was the one with the triangle passes towards the end, right?
Is it? Let me see here. Trying to find it. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it has triangle passes at the end. It's like finisher.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that this is someone else. And I keep thinking like, oh, White's fine where he is, but
I don't know. If we go back to the discussion about like filler versus content, it seems like there's a lot of filler until the
Yes.
ending, to be honest.
and there's an obvious execution error there, and that
Yeah.
triangle pass, the spider spin thing that's been used a lot.
So I don't think he really did anything exceptional that would justify where he is. Like, I get that he barely scraped by just like 1 point past Vayne, but I think there should have been other combos that would have been above that. There was one that I liked particularly, but I don't think it made it, but I'm gonna go look for it again.
Was it the Big Geek?
It was someone else.
I mean, let's look at the results real quick for Kagami. I mean, well, which spinners did you want to look at the results in particular? Golem Skate maybe, and rotation and White. So if we look at Golem Skate, 8-7, 7-1, 7-7, I think, 7-6, 8-8, 5-5, 8-8, 8-8, 7-6, 7-6, and then I guess for Kagami compared to Kagami, it's like 8-8, 7-10. Kagami got 10 on one of them. Okay. That 8-8, 7-8, 9-8, and got scored really high.
I think Kyle scored really low, and I think his combo wasn't that bad. Like, it might not have been enough to reach the top 8, but it was definitely better than most of the people who are scored higher than he is.
I didn't really like Keelt's combo that much, though. It seemed like why didn't I like it?
Like, I understand the flaws, but I think the ones that scored above it have a lot more flaws than what
It was mainly
combo
like
has.
the execution, and the material wasn't that impressive either.
More impressive than MKSFT.
It had some. I think it's
That
still.
is true.
It had some interesting stuff in there. The catch was very disappointing. What else?
Like right there at the beginning, he has the
Yeah, that was like an
leave
awesome.
them in
There's
an
some awkward
position.
points for sure.
Okay, is it better than flies or worse than flies?
I would say it's better than flies, easily.
There's no question about that, I think.
I mean, do I really need to show you guys flies combo?
Oh yeah. Flies was very bad.
Yeah, you can hear from Popte's like his mic blowing out that he really thinks that flies combo is bad.
Yeah, he's just foaming from the mouth right now, just thinking about it.
Sorry.
Like if we watch flies combo, the worst part of this combo for me was this horribly botched. Yeah, right there. Is this horribly botched mid back 1.5, and he almost like dropped it basically too, and it was like the weirdest direction change.
I think just how aggressively the pen moved. Like, it would go one way, then it go the other way really quickly and aggressively. I think that just put a really bad pacing and unsatisfactory look to his combo.
And I don't think he was.
Plus the piggyback catch. Let's talk about the piggyback catch. If you want to catch a piggyback, it's normally done at the base of the finger slot. But if you look at flies, it's cut on the knuckle of the ring and the very tip of the pinky. So even like, I know that piggybacks are hot and in style right now, but even that wasn't done particularly well.
Right there.
Yeah, there are just so many problems with the structure and the execution of this combo that, oh my, it's not good at all.
Which surprises me of how it scored so high up, higher than Kyle to Megas.
Yeah, he wasn't that many points away from making the top 8, but it really shouldn't be that close.
Well, I don't think it just matters about who's in the top 8 or not. I think it also matters about the rest of the scores, because those matter as well, because they're being judged on the same scale, right? So I don't think just because they didn't make a top 8 that we should just disregard their placing. I think like these spinners could potentially compete again, and if they're going to be judged, in my opinion, this unfairly, I think that's kind of a problem.
Yeah. I would say that at least I agree with the bottom three. It seem always, for both groups, the bottom three seem at least decent in terms of judging. At least people can recognize that.
Well, I thought Dark Horse would probably be higher in the
Oh.
bottom three, but that's probably due to his video being messed up by.
So you
by
probably
uploading.
scored low presentation points on that then.
That did not satisfy me when
didn't
half the screen was
satisfy.
green before.
-5 points.
It was not aesthetic.
Oh, dude, you can't use words like that without starting a riot, dude. You gotta be careful. How about like Scream and Peruru? Did we ever think of like what was it going on about them?
Peru had some interesting finger cross links, but as Baaron pointed out to me earlier, he had a major execution mistake.
About like his pen hitting the table, you mean?
Yeah, his pen hit the table, and he just kept going.
I actually like Scream's combo, kind of.
I like the start. I think the start is really interesting. But just the point right before the ending where the pen ends up in 1-2, you can see how it just stops. And if you look at the slow-mo, to me, it looks like it's hitting the table, which is...
Oh, you're talking about the other combo. Give me a second here.
Oh.
I'm looking at
which
Scream's
combo
combo right now.
Yeah, but Peru also, like the beginning, I really like the finger crossed like counter, I think.
Had some interesting ideas. And right about here... wait. I think you have to watch the slow-mo to really see it. Where was it? Oh yeah, it was right here, yeah. About here. You can see, like, right there, he hit the table with his pen there.
Did we talk about Isaac yet? I know I mentioned about it briefly.
Did you want to say anything else about him?
Can we just play the combo again?
Okay. Do you want me to play it in slow motion?
Yeah, like, there's no way that it should have scored that low. And like I said, like, maybe it wasn't enough for top 8, but the thing is, he's still being judged the same as everyone else. I just don't think that the score he got is justified at all.
He did like a spider spin thing that was pretty crazy.
He got like average difficulty scores, which is not accurate at all.
Yeah, I don't understand what was going on. Let me play this in 0.5 actually, because this is taking a little bit too long. The spider spin stuff he does right here is pretty crazy looking.
Like, I understand it's not the best executed combo.
Yeah.
But I think it deserves more than what it got, for sure. I'm not sure which category was weak for him, but if it's one or the other, I know.
Maybe I have a feeling that he didn't score very high on that satisfaction category.
What, do people have a problem with handheld cameras?
I mean, I think this camera is better than maybe Lay's camera.
I mean, if we look at this right now, where's Faint here? Am I in the wrong group? I'm trying to look where Faint is. Oh, there he is. 6455 65 65 77 42 76 53 61 54. I don't like he got really low on the first criteria.
Yeah, these scores really don't make sense for him.
That's interesting.
Like, I also enjoyed how he put the high two in as well. Like, it didn't seem like it was just the direction that he was going in. Like, you know how spinners normally do tricks that would end up in the same direction as a Haitua before they actually do it.
Like Twisted Sonic into
Yeah,
Haitua?
when
Yeah,
you build
yeah,
up
like
to it.
yeah, like when you build up to it to gain the momentum for it. Like I don't know, I just found it interesting how he did a direction change and then a Haitua.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, especially with a direction change, it's much harder to like actually be able to do a trick like that.
Yeah, for something that needs a lot of arm movement and
Yeah.
hand movement compared to a regular trick, you need to build up a certain momentum for that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know though. It didn't make sense that there was a score that was that low.
What do you think about Vayne then? I mean, Vayne's like it seems to be like a very like a favorite among people recently, at least.
See how this scored 9th. The tricks weren't well executed compared to what I know that Vayne is capable of doing. The pinky back, where it was, I guess.
I mean, the ending was also
the double
like
pinky back. I'm not sure what to call that, but I don't think.
Oh yeah, I see that
it
right
was done
there.
that well.
And then the
Like
ending was a little like excessive in terms of the arm movement there.
And also, like, the tricks that he's using is pretty
Simple.
simple. Like, I know Vayne can come up with better links than what
Like
he's
right there,
using
there's
in
the
this
pinky
combo.
issue right there. And then there's some busts, and then here's that excessive arm movement.
I just think that the pinky thing where he caught it in 2-3 and then just changed direction really randomly for something like that. Like I understand that trick itself, it kind of has a strange orientation for where the rotation is. But I think just his choice to land it there, it seems so abrupt and out of place. Because you can see how much it stops before he continues the combo again as well.
Yeah.
And if we go to his ending, you can kind of see how it looked really abrupt. Like it did an extra half rotation after, or maybe like a quarter rotation after he caught it. It just didn't seem like he meant to catch it where the pen would swing a little bit extra, almost to the point where it hits the table.
Mm-hmm. All right. How about? Is there anyone else you guys wanted to talk about? Let's see.
Any comments on Aotoi?
I mean, that isn't that the other group though? Did we not?
Yeah.
Let's go
I
back
don't
to the
think
other
we
group.
acknowledged
I don't think we
it yet.
acknowledged Awatoi's that much here.
I think we did for briefly, but
I think we just glanced over it. Yeah. Let me try to bring the video up here. I didn't like it, and I thought he could have. He does not deserve to be there.
it's just another thing where he decides to catch tricks at the very base of his fingers, making it really difficult to properly control the speed. You can see how much it changes.
It's also very awkward in the execution, and that hand, like weird hand motion thing, it seemed really awkward, and it was kind of just completely destroyed the flow.
If I remember, I think Felty Fram did that already.
Yeah.
That weird, I guess I hate to call it this, but like a reverse Rex trick almost.
Yeah, like that thing.
Plus
it
the
just,
finisher.
The finisher.
Yeah. It didn't look like he meant to finish it there as well. And the fact that it scored higher than Monk and Pelta, I don't really quite understand the reasoning behind that.
Let's look at Monk's, because at least he's UPSB and we can talk a little bit about it. So if we see watch Monks here, I mean obviously there's that issue with the pinky back in the beginning, but otherwise this is a pretty solid combo. And compared to like Awatawi, like Monk's execution is way better, and his content is pretty good as well.
I think it's a good example of being able to use filler properly as well.
Yeah.
He spins it pretty fast.
Yeah, I wish we could spin that fast.
Can I spin that fast?
Faster than Popte.
Wait, do I actually spin faster than you, Popte?
I don't know.
I'm looking at the screen right now, and it's just us spinning. Is it?
I can spin fast if I'm doing like tricks that I'm used to doing, but when I'm filming combos, I usually try to do new stuff. So that's why it dramatically reduces my speed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's easier to spin slow when you're doing something that's not as familiar with you.
Yeah.
It's easier to control the smoothness of it if it's slower.
I mean, yeah. The way I spin has always been, has not always been, but recently has just been tricks I know well and tricks I want to execute really well. So it makes sense, I guess. And also the fact that I'm spinning a pretty light pen compared to like a lot of, this is like the lightest pen compared to the ones that you guys are spinning right now in this overlay.
Any comments about Pelta's combo? It scored the same as Monk's.
Okay, let's look at it real quick.
I like the continuous wiper. I'm not sure how hard it is, but I mean the only other person I've seen doing it is Mind.
I think his transition from a wiper to a non-wiper based trick and then back into the wiper sequence was quite well done as well. The only issue I have, of course, is the ending.
Yeah, the ending was a very badly executed double bust.
It was badly executed and quite aggressive. And if we just ignore that point, I think he did quite well with the majority of what he put in his combo.
Do you think that they should have scored differently, though? Pelta and Monk, they shouldn't have been the same score? It's hard to say because their spinning is kind of completely different, but it
is hard to say, but I don't think it should have scored lower than Aotoi's, if that's the point that I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
I like Pelta's maybe better than Monk because his hand stays more stable when he's doing his tricks.
Yes.
Well, that depends what tricks they're doing.
I mean, if we're talking about how stable and all that stuff, let's look at real quick the satisfaction results here. So if we go to Pelta, his satisfaction 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. With Monk, let's see here. Monk got a 3.
Wouldn't this be under execution though?
3, 2, 3, 3, 4, 3, 3, 2. Is it? What? There isn't really no execution category though. That's the other thing. Does it fall under the presentation / creativity scale, like the artistic skill here?
It would fall somewhere in between artistic and the subjective category, maybe. It's kind of difficult to say because they didn't explicitly.
It's also the fact that their spinning is kind of completely different, so I would say it's kind of hard to judge, but...
Well, execution is part of presentation, yeah. I guess, like how you present your combo, if I'm going to be redundant about it. But either way, like, it's one or both of them, but the fact that... Hang on, I totally lost my train of thought.
Like, I don't know. It's like, well, would you guys prefer watching Monk in a collab, or would you guys prefer watching Pelta in a collab, basically?
It depends on the other spinners, because some spinners complement others better.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say.
Mm-hmm. I would say that's a really hard, thing to, judge whether or not the scores would be different or not.
Pelta's combo might fit in better in like a JB type collab.
Or PDS.
Yeah, PDS. Seeing as he's from there, I guess.
Is there anything else you guys want to mention? Should I talk about the thing that Canner posted on his blog real quick, actually?
The toast gate.
Yeah, I think PS Canner posted this blog post, and Vortex posted it everywhere on UPSB, Reddit, and otherwise, that there's a reason about there's shit that's happening in PDS or whatever, and Mr. LSE is very is like commercializing a lot of things. I guess he's being very sellouty in some ways. I mean, it's not. If you guys want to see it, it's, let me link it real quick, but in a second. But I'm not sure how I feel about it because it's just one person saying this, but I wouldn't exactly be surprised if it was true because also there was that new board that came out that was called KIPS or whatever.
Which is a Google Plus group, by the way.
Yeah, Korean community seems to change every year or so.
Should we?
I posted it in the thing.
Should we start getting people to ask questions?
Yeah, if you guys want to ask some questions about the tournament and your opinions on the matter, feel free to go ahead.
Post the questions in the Twitch chat, please.
Yes. It's interesting though. There's just the tournament in general is like kind of interesting of how it even started.
Interesting in the sense that there's so much community conflict, but they're still willing to run a tournament. Do you mean?
Kind of.
He banned what is it, the other Korean communities from entering into PWT, which I
thought was kind of funny, to be honest. There's obviously something happening there if he prevented KIPS from joining, I guess.
So we have a question from Inevitable Shenanigans. Did you guys have any favorites from this group? Or from this whole thing in general, I guess?
Are we talking about like ones we liked watching or just ones that we think deserved?
If we keep it general, just ones that we liked, I guess.
I liked... It's hard to say. Golem Skate, definitely pretty good. What else? I would say Megas was decent. Cocoa was decent. Pixels, Beige, Renz. It's hard to like really pick and choose, but the ones like the spinning that I would enjoy would be like Cocoa and like other kinds of spinners because that's just kind of the person I am.
There wasn't really a combo that I would say like wowed me or was really excellent in this round.
Yes, I agree. This group stage in general was pretty lackluster, but like it didn't impress me very much. But hopefully, I will see like some more content from them in the future. Let me put the matchups up as well, just so you guys have an idea.
But the ones that I liked watching, at least maybe Coco, and Magus, those were like nice to watch. But in terms of tournament spinning, maybe like Golem Skate.
Yeah, Golem Skate for sure.
Or Renz and Pixels.
Yeah, Renz, Pixels. Those were pretty good, yeah. Beige as well, definitely Beige.
If I'm gonna go solely on like what spinners I like already and just what combos came out of this, I think Beige would probably be my favorite combo because of the lack of execution mistakes. And I see a lot of Beige's combos, so I kind of have an idea of what he would do, but not everything that I expected him to do was done in this submission, so I'll probably put him as my favorite combo of this qualifying round.
Okay. I can't really place a favorite, to be honest. It's hard for me to tell just because I can't really judge difficulty that much, and I have a different preference when it comes to watching pen spinning.
We have another question from Zcon. What attributes or features from this tournament should be applied to World Tournament 17?
That's interesting. It's a really good question because, as we talked about earlier, the subjective kind of criteria that you seem to approve, Baaron, of, and it was. Do you mind trying to explain that again? By the way,
explaining how
the subjective like criteria
How
would help.
subjective criteria is maybe beneficial to judging.
I mean, didn't they actually do this in World Tournament at some point? They called it. They basically set it as the presentation criteria, right?
Well, pen spinning itself is already really subjective. So I think if we make it more subjective, or hang on, just let's answer another question because I'm going to think about this for a bit actually.
Okay, well,
before I say something really stupid.
all right. Well, I'll say that I had an idea about criteria before, and it's basically, I'm not sure if, like, you know how, like, if you've ever been judged for like your like English like essays back when you were in high school or whatever, like they would have like an actual rubric for it, and I'm wondering if that could apply to criterias and pen spinning in the sense that, like, if like you had like the execution criteria, let's say one, like the full marks would be like no execution errors, the second one would be like one or minor mistakes, and third one, etc., or major mistakes. I'm wondering if that would actually help people judge.
I think it's outlined in the rule book what like constitutes certain scores in execution.
Oh. It's
Yeah.
interesting though.
If we're gonna go by that, like I wouldn't take off points for each error that they made because that also depends how many tricks are done in the combo. So I think like the percentage of tricks that you chose to do versus and which ones were done well versus which ones weren't done well would kind of give an execution score rather than just if you see this many, then you take off this many points.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna be really general about it, Zcon is basically asking what should World Tournament do that's hosted by UPSB do better from like looking at PWT basically.
Just have one judge.
Just have one judge. Do you think, like, obviously, do you think that like UPSB shouldn't have like the same kind of judging bias or the same kind of like board bias as PWT? I feel like UPSB's World Tournaments are known for incorporating all communities in terms of judging.
I don't think the community should matter as long as the
Yes.
judges are competent.
That's the thing. Everyone was so focused on having that representation without even considering the fact that judges have to kind of be qualified to give scores. And in this case, just for the sake, or from the previous tournaments, just for the sake of people being happy that someone is representing them for judging, they still had bad scores. And I don't think that properly reflects how a tournament should run. Like the only qualification is for that judge is that they are the only one from this country who is closest to being a judge.
Yeah. I mean, even with some of these famous spinners, I mean, like Rex was a judge, I think, in one of the World Tournaments back. And there was like some other famous-ish spinners, I guess, or well-known spinners in there. There was like what?
I think Hal
Taichi was in there. Hal was in there. There was a lot.
I think that's also another concept that people have, that if you're a good spinner, you're probably a good judge, which I strongly disagree with.
Yeah, I can't agree with that either. Which is why I have the problem of that. Well, the better way to put it is that's the reason why the last World Tournament had so much drama and like judging errors and stuff like that, because people didn't thought that good spinners were good judges as well. I don't know. I mean, judging in general is like subjective as well, so it's hard to like be super critical about it, I guess. But some things you wonder why they overlooked like an execution error or the combo structure or whatever of the combo.
That's the problem though. Like when people get judged for their combos, everyone kind of expects for it to be objective, which obviously is not a realistic case for it.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go back to why I think subjective is better, it's like if you present it as subjective, then people won't be as angry that it is a subjective thing, which will always be the case. If you once again, if you say that it's as fair as you can and this equal representation thing that people seem to really like, it's not really possible. So
Yeah.
in order to make it as subjective as possible, I think, which will give, I guess, the most honest answer from this perspective, once again, like you have to, like if you're if you're a competitor and you're not happy about the judges, that's kind of on you because you opted into joining a tournament that will be subjective. So
Yeah.
I think if judges or if competitors know who their judge is and they realize that this is going to be incredibly subjective and just based off of one person, I think that'll make people a little bit less, I guess, unhappy about just the false narrative that the scoring is objective when
Popte, do you think that the criteria should be like? Do you think that the subjective criteria should be a thing though?
When you have subjective criteria, it kind of opens up to maybe disputes about the results, but there's nothing really wrong with it since, like, as Baaron said, pen spinning is naturally subjective.
Okay. I mean, also the other fact that the main difference between the two criteria is that PWT does like technical and artistic, whereas like World Tournament has execution, creativity, difficulty, presentation. I think something like that.
Well, I think even like putting certain categories for your judging shows what kind of things you like to judge as well, proving that even with a different rubric, it's going to be subjective because
Yeah, I mean,
you're choosing what to focus on. Like if there was a judge that didn't care about smoothness, you want to judge smoothness, right?
yeah. What else? What other things do you think would be better in World Tournament than like other than judging and criteria? Although those are like the big main factors, obviously. Like, would you maybe have changes to how it's organized or like the speed of it, deadlines, and all that stuff?
I'm not really concerned about the speed of it and how often videos come out. I know that in the past that people always had a problem with late judge submissions.
Yeah.
But that depends on the judges and what else is happening in their lives. So I don't know if I can say that it's something that has to be changed, but that will vary.
I would say that what's it called? I think I just lost my train of thought already. I don't know. It's just I actually can't think of it. I just like brain farted big time.
Should we open up questions to the shout box on UPSB?
We're about time to wrap up anyway, so we might as well take like one more or something like that. I think this took the majority of it because I mean this is the UPSB admin we're talking to and the person who's organizing, so I guess it's interesting for him to get some feedback on this.
Are there any other questions that you guys have? Don't be afraid to speak out. I'm not trying to be negative all the time.
Wait, is this positive Baaron speaking?
Yeah, I'm always positive.
Zikon is saying Popte is getting demoted. What?
For spinning too slow.
For spinning too slow. For being a poopty.
Okay, I don't think we're getting any questions right now.
Is there anything else you guys want to add before we head out? I think we're pretty much good. I'm glad everyone came out here today and watched us ramble on about pen spinning and our opinions. Thanks for coming here, by the way, Popte and Baaron, on time as well. It's been fun. And thank you for watching and chatting and being active here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. We're gonna probably Baaron, when do you think we're gonna do a podcast next? Probably like a week or two from now, I would say, is probably what our schedule is gonna be, just to make sure it's not like too hard on us. Because organizing this stuff is pretty hard.
Long-term planning is not really any of our forte right now, so I guess we'll have to come and see what day would be convenient for us. But
yeah, so just keep track. You can follow the the Twitch channel if you want to get notified if we go live, and as well you can follow our Twitter as well for like updates and just random tidbits of how we're doing.
And we also make announcements on UPSB if you're not willing to follow any of those platforms, if you want to tune in for our next show.
And if you missed a lot of the stream in the beginning, we will be uploading a VOD to our YouTube channel. So it's youtube.com/UPSB Talkshow, I believe.
We'll link it
we'll link it later.
Account. So if you missed any of it or you want to share this to people, we'll have the link floating around somewhere when it's ready.
All right, thank you so much, guys. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye!
Oh boy.